What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review, and today, kicking off the weekend of my birthday on August 9th, we are talking about the latest offering from Aphelion, REAPERDAWN. This comes out on August 9th, this time on Century Media Records, and this is the band's second album. I actually went over their debut album, Moribund, when it came out in 2022. That was under an independent label, and this is their, I guess you would call it, major label at this point, considering Century Media has become a pretty big label for all things metal over the past 20 years, maybe longer than that. But yeah, for those who don't know, this is a side project from Sebastian Romstead from Necrophobic, Johan Bergback from Necrophobic, and Marco Pre from, he's from Cryptosis, but is currently playing live with Skeletal Remains. And for this album, they got a new bass player, Tobias Christensen, also from Necrophobic, but formerly of Entombed AD, Dismember, and Grave. So pretty much this is three-fifths of Necrophobic in this band, but for the most part in the beginning it was just Sebastian, Johan, and Marco in the beginning, and it was just a three-piece on Moribund, but here it's a four-piece, and they're on a bigger label with a bigger budget and can probably do more. I was, like I said, a pretty big fan of the debut album, Moribund. That actually made my year-end list for 2022 because it was a beast of an album. And here we are with a new one. And as far as people wondering what styles this, well, this is black metal, but there's some touches of other metal subgenres on this album, and I'll touch on those when I talk about the songs. Kicking things off with The Field and Nadir. It starts off with some like creepy, clean melodies, and then it gets into this like really cool build-up with guitar harmonies, and then right into classic black metal tremolos and blast beats, and it's also very thrashy. Like, this song felt very much like second wave black metal worship. I would say particularly Immortal and Mayhem. Like, I heard elements of both of those bands on this opening track, and there's even some like really cool galloping sections. And then I might as well talk about the lead work as a whole on this album. For those who are unaware of Sebastian Romstead's lead work, especially in Necrophobic, because he's been a Necrophobic for I think over 20 years at this point, on and off, but that man has got to be, in my opinion, one of the most underrated guitarists in metal. Like, not only can he play damn good riffs, but man, his lead work is so varied, and you can definitely tell the man is inspired by classic heavy metal like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Merciful Fate, King Diamond, like all that kind of stuff. And he showcases those leads very well on Necrophobic albums, but he continues to show them off here within Aphelion. And I would say lead work, top to bottom, not a single moment on here did I go like, that was a weak lead. Hell no. Sebastian is a masterful soloist and shredder. And the lead that starts off on this album starts off kind of more dive bomb oriented, kind of like Slayer, but there's a really cool tapping section, and that's how you end the opening track. And then into A Winter Moon's Gleam. This one's kind of all over the place when it comes to influence. It starts off with like an Immortal clean melody on the guitars, and it's really gorgeous, and then it kind of gets into like triplet chugs and swings. I kind of feel like if you took Immortal towards the later portion of their career, like the late 90s to where Immortal are now, mixed it with recent At the Gates, like the last three albums, it's like you took both of those bands, mixed them together, and that's where this song kind of comes in. But another trope that's going to pop up quite a bit on this album is somber melodies. Like, there's a good amount of somber melodies across the board on the entire album, but as the song progresses, it then turns into like a melodic death metal double time stomp, almost like Amon Amarth, I would say. And even the lead that pops up here is a little more rockin'. It's a little more like 80s shred, like Judas Priest for the most part. Then we get into When All Stellar Light is Lost. This one kind of goes for definitely more of a straight up black metal approach, like high end tremolos and blasts that feel like mayhem. But you do get some like really cool like triplet gallops. And Sebastian, who's also doing the vocals, first off, Sebastian's vocals are very strong on here. He's got a great black metal scream, but here on When All Stellar Light is Lost, he showcases that he has a pretty strong death roar, which, man, this guy's actually got a very good extreme metal vocal style, whether in black metal or death metal. Now I wonder if Sebastian will do a straight up death metal side project and do vocals, because I'd be down to hear his death roars top to bottom on album, because this part was really, really cool. But then the song, it does kind of get into a bit of a dynamic shift where it does calm down a little bit. And then you move into the song The Darkening, awesome drum build with guitar melodies. And then it gets into like an awesome triplet swing, but with some like eerie, dissonant melodies. Almost like if you took Bathory, Shooter, and Urgahal, mixed them together, or even Dark Throne. You can even throw Dark Throne into the mix, mashed them together, and that's where you get some of these riffs and eerie, dissonant melodies on this track. And then, of course, whenever it blasts, somber melodies return once again, and then it even gets a little bit thrashy, like it does get a little thrashy towards the end. But then we get into one of the big standouts, They Fell Under Blackened Skies. This song is, I would say, mostly a thrash metal song, or blackened thrash, and starts off with like a cool tapping intro, and then it turns into almost like European thrash, or at least like really fast thrash. So I'm thinking Old Sepultura, Sadus, Sodom, like it kind of has that sensibility to it, but then you do get some like borderline death metal triplet chugs, sweet harmonized leads, and then there's blasts with more evil riffs that retain a little bit more of the black metal. And then even like a cool 80s lead melody with like cool tasteful drums. Then it gets into a double time stomp with more atmospheric lead melodies. Further From the Sun has a melody that builds everything up, and the melody kind of stays on top of all the riff progressions on this track, and it's more double time, dissonant melodies, and doomy grooves, almost like a black metal bolt thrower song, I would even say. Then the title track, REAPERDAWN, which is the shortest track of the album at almost 4 minutes, big tremolo riffs and thrashy beats, very much in the vein of like late 80s Bathory, I would say, and some shred-tastic soloing with harmonies and some like more crusty D beats. But then you get into the big closer, which was the longest track of the album at over 8 minutes. a.k.a. starts off with like ambience, classical clean melody with atmosphere, and then like for the most part in the first half of the song, the vocals are a little bit lower, as if Sebastian was trying to channel his inner Anders Strohkirk, the vocalist of Necrophobic and bandmate for a while, kind of like he was channeling Anders a little bit. But it pretty much, for the most part, stays like doomy and has a lumbering groove, kind of like At the Gates a little bit. Some doomy triplet gallops, marching rhythms, more somber melodies, and there's a brief thrash break in the song, but then it just kind of turns into this huge epic melody fest towards the very end with the lead work once again. I mean, again, Sebastian, just a mastermind on the guitar. The production, top to bottom, pretty well balanced. Like, it was still raw, but it was well produced, not like second wave black metal where it's like, oh, everything needs to sound shitty. That's the appeal of it. It's like, not necessarily. The production, I really, really liked it. The mix was pretty well balanced. Like, you can hear the bass. Hell, even an isolated bass line in the final track showed up, which I thought was really, really cool. As far as any complaints go, I had to really nitpick to find anything to complain about. Honestly, even the things that perhaps some other people might complain about, which is maybe a little bit too much of the somber melodies, I personally like that they did more somber melodies, because on Moribund, it was just all about being rather cerebral throughout. Whereas here, you're getting a lot of nuances with those somber melodies coming out more and more often as the album comes along, because it kind of represents that Swedish black metal sound, which has a little bit more of that somber melodic approach, like a band like Dissection, Sacramentum, among so many others. It's almost kind of like keeping up that tradition. So, really, I have nothing to complain about, so I'm going to go ahead and give this 5 out of 5. This is, I would say, the best black metal album I've heard thus far this year, but there's still touches of other styles, like touches of melodic death metal, touches of thrash metal, touches of classic heavy metal, but done in a black metal way. So, yeah, I think this is, in my opinion, the best black metal album I've heard this year. And yeah, this is definitely going to make my year-end list. Where will it rank? We still got a long way to go, and there's a lot of big albums coming up, especially in October, September and October, that's going to be interesting to digest. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Keep your horns high and your dreams wet.
Thank you for your patronage.